There's an expression that's commonly used in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, and it can be a bit confusing, the God of your understanding. Obviously, it can't mean understanding God. God is beyond our understanding. It's hard enough to understand ourselves or to understand another human being, so clearly we couldn't, it doesn't mean that we would understand God. The way I understand it is that it's God according to my idea, whatever is my idea of God. I don't have to have anybody else's idea of God. And so this morning I want to look at that with you, and I find the best way to do it is I've chosen 5 possibilities of people's belief, how they relate to God. And we look at each one in turn and see whether you see yourself in that, whether you identify, and how it will affect the person's recovery. And very creatively and very imaginatively, I've called them Tom, Dick, Harry, Mary, and Jane, okay? And we start with Tom. Now, Tom is a person who believes in God and believes in a loving God. He's got no problem there at all. Also, Tom practices a religion. Tom goes to church in the wide sense of the word, church, chapel, synagogue, mosque, temple, whatever. And it means a great deal to him. Now, I identify very much with Tom. That's me, and maybe some of you. So Tom goes to a church regularly, takes part in his religion very definitely. He's very sincere, and he keeps getting drunk and drugged habitually. And every time he tries to control this, it doesn't work. And so he's quite bewildered as to why is this happening to such a person like me who believes in God and is practicing my religion. And of course, at first he'll be angry with himself. He'll think he's some kind of a hypocrite, and he'll try all the harder. He may go to church more often. He may receive communion more often. He may study the Bible. He may take part in a prayer group, and he still gets drunk and he still gets drugged. So then he may be angry with his church, with his religion. What's the use of a religion if it doesn't help you in a crisis? And he can find plenty of things, if he looks, to criticize in any religion, in any church. He'll justify his anger. And then, of course, too, as I was, he can feel very angry with God. Why has God allowed this to happen to me? And also, why isn't God helping me? You see? And Tom, because he practices a religion and has a very strong religious belief, Tom is going to have to learn a very hard fact of life, a very hard lesson, which I had to learn, and I learned it very reluctantly. This isn't anybody's bright idea, anybody's theory. It is the painful experience of people looking for recovery. And it's this: it's very, very, very rare indeed that anyone found stable sobriety from alcohol or any other drug by the practice of a religious faith. It's very, very rare indeed. Of course, some people, in the enthusiasm of a kind of born-again conversion, they can abstain from alcohol or other drugs, but once they settle down in their conversion, in their church, in their religion, it doesn't last. They relapse. It's so rare for somebody to find stable sobriety through the practice of a religion that I've been told it is actually statistically 0. It's too small to be measured. Now, by statistics or any other measurement, for the last 65 years, millions of people have been finding stable, contented sobriety from alcohol and other drugs through the program and the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. So Tom will have to make a choice, as I had to. He's going to find the remedy for his illness, his addictive illness, not through his church, but through the fellowship and program of AA and NA. And that's a hard thing for him to have to accept. See. And what he'd also find, almost certainly, as I have found, as he's gone on in sobriety, through AA or through NA, he'll find that there will be well-meaning people who'll say to him, well, now that you're cured, and he'll have to say, as I've had to say, I'm not cured, I have an incurable illness. Well, they think we're just playing with words. But there's all the difference in the world between a cure and a recovery. You see, and it's helped me, as I've mentioned to you, that I have another chronic illness which is also incurable. I have diabetes. I'm an insulin-dependent diabetic. Now, I didn't choose to be a diabetic. I tried to eat like ordinary people, and I got very ill, and so I discovered I was a diabetic. And I didn't choose to be an addicted alcoholic. I tried to drink like ordinary people, and I got very ill. So I discovered I was an addicted alcoholic. And in both of those, there's no cure yet, anyway. In both of them, there is a recovery, a treatment. My recovery from my diabetes is I have to inject myself with insulin every morning and every evening, whether I like it or not. That's the recovery. And there's certain things I can't eat and so on. And then my recovery, and Tom's recovery will be to live the program of the 12 steps every day and to go to AA or NA meetings and share there and care there. That's recovery, that's the treatment. A cure is quite a different thing. Our illness, at least my illness, if you share my addictive illness, for you, we have a daily recovery. So far they haven't found a cure. We'll have it for the rest of our lives. And it's the same with my diabetes. But as I say, there's sometimes you can find a cure for something, and it's a big difference. As I said, my cancer, I was to go for an operation. I went for an operation. And the surgeon gave me a final examination before the operation, and he said, oh, something has happened. And next thing, there were several surgeons, and there were medical students, and I thought, it's gone too far. They're not going to be able to operate. And he said, something very unusual has happened. And I said, well, tell me the worst. Well, he said, it isn't worst at all. He said, there's no sign of cancer in your body at all. It's all gone. He said, you've experienced what is a very rare medical phenomenon. It's called spontaneous remission. The cancer is gone. Spontaneous remission. He said, you might have another word for it. I thought, you bet your sweet life have got another word for it, you see. So I'm cured. I was cured of cancer, you see. I wanted to tell everybody when I came out of the hospital. I went along to Tesco's and I said to the girl at the checkout, I've just found I've been cured of cancer. And it went right from each checkout along. She said, he's cured of cancer, he's cured of cancer. They still had to pay my bill, but you see. So the difference between a cure, people think we're cured. We're not cured. We'll always need the treatment. And so Tom will always need AA or NA, always, you see. At first he'll hate that like I did, but then gradually you don't. You get to like it, you make friends and so on. It becomes a part of your social life. But what he'll find, as I have found, is that my understanding of the program is helped by my Christian belief. It helps me to understand more about the program. And also, the program of recovery, the 12 steps and so on, enrich my understanding of my Christian faith. The two can help each other, but Tom must be in no doubt, and I must be in no doubt of where recovery is. Recovery is from AA and NA, not from my religion. And that's a hard lesson, but it's one Tom will have to learn. Now we come to the second person, Dick. Dick also believes in a loving God, and Dick also has a religion, but he's lapsed from it. He doesn't practice it anymore. Maybe in his teens, he drifted away, other things became more important, maybe he felt it was being shoved down his throat or whatever, and he's lapsed. Now, where is Dick going to get sobriety from? The same way as Tom, from AA or NA.